Hello again, my name is Irishfreethinker. This is my second video that is made as a video response to a series of videos produced by an organisation called Direction for Our Times. Direction for Our Times is an organisation that produces videos about a woman who allegedly is in conversation with God the Father, with Jesus, with his mother Mary, with a host of saints. And she allegedly is brought to heaven on visits. And what this video is about is a response by me to this nonsense. It's a response by me because the things that she says not only being dangerous, but are in fact an insult to my critical faculties at any rate. And I want to take some of the things that she says and try and give them an answer from a rational viewpoint, essentially from a humanistic or an atheistic viewpoint, a rational viewpoint. The quotes that I'm going to use are taken directly from her book, which is called Climbing the Mountain. This is a picture of it. She says that atheists are just angry people. We are atheists because we are angry. Now, she doesn't in any sense go on to explain why it is she says that we are angry. I certainly don't feel angry. Quite the contrary. My atheism has brought me to a situation where I'm far more at peace with myself and indeed with the actual world as I see it than I ever was growing up a Catholic, indoctrinated as a young child in Co Cavan. So, she also accuses us of, she says, and I quote, cite scientific evidence to supplant God's existence. That's what atheists do apparently. Well, we don't really. We cite scientific evidence because that's what we have discovered, and because scientific evidence offers us a far, far better provable explanation of the way that the earth and the way that humanity and the way that evolution works. Far, far better, as I said, than any scriptures based on teachings or based on thoughts coming from the Bronze Age. Scientific evidence can stand the test of time. If something comes along which is new, it is checked against what we existing know already, and it does one of two things. It either improves our knowledge of the way that the earth works and it's incorporated into science, or it doesn't, in which case it is simply discarded because it doesn't fit the observed, testable, verifiable facts. So of course we use evidence from science. Science doesn't, unlike religion, unlike Catholicism, and unlike the Bronze Age script, science does not offend, does not insult my critical faculties. In her book, she also criticizes atheists for, and I quote, for being mocking with an air of superiority the idea of the second coming. So what she actually says is, in relation to the second coming, and she's addressing this basically to atheists, she says, and I quote, "The fact that the second coming did not occur in the time of the early apostles is no guarantee that it will not occur in our time." End quote. So in other words, I suppose what she is saying is that atheists had better watch out. The fact that the second coming, the anticipated, expected second coming, the fact that it didn't occur in the apostles' time is no guarantee that it's not going to happen in our time. But what she's really missing is the atheist's point of view. And the atheist's point of view is this, is that it was Jesus himself who, speaking allegedly, of course, at least according to the Bible, it was Jesus himself who made the promise to the apostles that before they would die, he would have come again, presumably in glory, to judge the living and the dead. Let's have a look at what he actually says according to the Gospels. Matthew 16:28. He says, "I tell you the truth, some of you who are standing will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." And that is what Jesus said to the apostles. His words, not ours, not atheists, his words. The reality of the situation is, despite this verbatim promise by Jesus to his followers, it has not happened. If these men, if these apostles lived at all, and I doubt very much actually that they did live, but if they lived at all, then you can be absolutely certain that their bones are dried and scattered, and still the second coming has not taken place. And you might argue over the words of what Jesus said, the issue that they will not taste death. Well, death means to most ordinary people just one thing, that you physically expire. And that's what death is. And so if we take it in the ordinary parlance that people are meant to take stories, etc., then what he is saying is that these people will not be dead until he will have come again. And it hasn't happened. So it's not a question of mocking. It's a question of atheists using the alleged words of Jesus to show just how empty those Jesus' personal promises are. They are empty because they simply haven't happened. There is a section in her book that deals with drug addiction. And this, what she says in relation to drug abuse, I just find absolutely incredibly naive to the point of being dangerous. This is what she says, and I quote, in relation to drug addiction. She says, "Your suffering is of heavenly design and purpose." In other words, the very fact that you are a drug addict and dependent on drugs and your life is being destroyed by your drug addiction is apparently of heavenly design and purpose. She also goes on to say what the solution to that drug addiction is, and she says, and again it's a quote taken directly from her book, she says, what she is saying now is what Mary says as being the answer, the mother of Jesus, as what her answer is to the question of how you overcome your drug addiction. And she says, and I quote, "Put your hand in your mother's now, and I will lead you away from your addiction." End of quote. I think that it is symptomatic of religious belief and the dangers of religious belief, in that it can say practically anything it wants without having to prove in any way whatsoever, or without having to show in any way whatsoever that what she says is actually the right way, that there is efficacy in what she says. Of course that's not going to work. Drug addiction is enormously more complex and difficult to solve than that. And what she's showing is just the ramblings of the ramblings of nonsense that is pouted by this woman as the solution to drug addiction. There is one last thing she says that I would like to draw attention to as well, and that is this idea of fast tracking to heaven. Jesus apparently promises people who follow this Anne, the lay apostle, and works for her, he promises them the following. Promises from Jesus to his lay apostles that he will pursue complete conversion of each of their loved ones, so that my beloved apostles will know peace. In other words, what he's promising here is that if they come and work for this organization, they needn't be concerned about their loved one. He is essentially given almost a personal guarantee that he is going to save them. And that is called salvation by proxy. And it goes against every teaching of the Catholic Church that I certainly was indoctrinated with when I was a child. And any Christian who genuinely believes in Christianity and in the Bible has to be at least worried about this thing. The idea that these people who follow this woman, their loved ones will be saved as a favour to them for following her, regardless apparently of what they've done. Well, I think that is just incredible nonsense. Salvation by proxy is absolute nonsense. But then, of course, I mean, I'm not really concerned. The whole thing is just nonsense. And it's a reason why I'm making this video, because it's just an insult to anybody's critical faculties when you get down to the nitty-gritty and look at what she really has to say. Thank you.